Hello, Mr. Daigle here. I just wanted to break down the two-step process to getting the name of a note on the staff. Here are the 2 steps. Step 1, find a reference note. Step 2, just walk through the alphabet forwards or backwards. Down is backwards through the alphabet, up is forwards through the alphabet. That's literally all you need to find the letter name of a note. So let's look at a more specific example. We've all seen this clef. Sometimes we call it the treble clef, but the actual proper name is the G clef. It's called the G clef because it shows us where the note G is. If you look at the little spiral at the bottom of the clef, it actually starts on the note G. So in the case of the treble staff, which is how we normally see it, the second line from the bottom is going to be G. For our purposes, this is great, but just understand, no matter what line that little circle is on, that line becomes G. You actually used to see this clef moved around, so G would be on a different line depending on where that clef was. However, all the music we look at, it is going to be in the same place, so G is that second line from the bottom. So at the very least, we can always have step 1 accomplished, find a reference note. So say we have this note on the middle line of the staff. With our G clef in place, we know that that second line from the bottom is G. Now all we have to do in order to find the name of this note is just walk through our musical alphabet. Now our musical alphabet is the same as the English alphabet, it's just that it stops at G and goes back to A. So if you count forward, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you go back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So to get from G to that second note, we need to climb up each line in space. We can't skip any of the lines or any of the spaces. So let's try that. We have G, we move up to A because we went back to the beginning, and we go to the next letter after that, B. There we go. We had a reference note, and then we just walked forward through the alphabet. Now, if we were to start on G again, but we wanted to find the note on the bottom line of the staff, we would follow the same process, but we would have to walk backwards through the alphabet because we're moving down. So we have G, we step back 1 note to F, and then we step back another note to E. Finding the letter name of a note does not get any more complicated than this. So let's try another one. If we want to find the note that sits on top of the staff in that space, we can follow the same process. So let's find our G. And now if we just walk forward through the alphabet, accounting for each line in space, let's see what we get. We move up to the A. Now we're on the next line, which is B. We move to the next space, which is C. Then D on the line, E in that space, F on the top line, and then to get to the top space, we jump forward 1 more letter back to G. Because there were only 7 letters, we're going to see some repeats, which is fine. Now let's go back to that first step, the reference note. If you're looking at the same clef, you never have to worry about those letter names changing. This is why when you learned Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge or Face, that's why you could always use those. However, those aren't quite as helpful when we're dealing with notes outside the staff on things that we call ledger lines. Because the musical staff extends infinitely in either direction, we can just keep adding more staff lines if our note isn't high enough or low enough. However, we find the note name the exact same way. So let's try that. Here, we have a note 2 lines above the staff. Now, if you were using your Every Good Boy Does Fine, Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge, or Face, you're sort of out of luck. Those don't account for notes outside of the staff. They don't account for ledger lines. However, the 2-step method can get us there. Now, this note is really high, so we could start with the G clef and that G that's on the second line from the bottom. However, that's a lot of letters to count. What we just did a moment ago was find out that the note that sits on top of the staff is also G. That's not going to change because we haven't changed the clef. So let's start on that G and work up from there. Suddenly, we're not counting 15 notes or 14 notes. We're only counting, 4? Let's find out what that is. We're starting on G. Then we step up to the line, which is back to the beginning of the alphabet, A. Then we step up to B. Then we step up again to C. That took a lot less time and a lot less counting than going all the way back down to that G that's the second line from the bottom. Again, this works going below the staff too. We just have to go backwards through the alphabet. So we go G, F, E, D, C, B, A. I'm really impressed that I did that on the first try. So that is the 2-step method. Reference note, and then just count through the alphabet either forwards or backwards.